Hello, everyone. I just wanted to test out this new phone microphone that I have, and the purpose for me getting this is so that I often have 2 or 3 hours of downtime at work. I want to be able to record videos, short rants, so I could get started on dissecting all this information that I've been compiling. So hopefully the quality is acceptable. But of course, all of my scripted videos, all of my large videos are going to be done over my desktop. So I'll use the mic that I have there, which is of much better quality. But today I just want to talk quickly about the rebranding of feminism and an article from BuzzFeed, or I think it's an article linking to BuzzFeed, about a survey that was conducted about feminism and whether or not feminism needs to be rebranded. And I believe that's the title of this article. So there was a survey conducted on BuzzFeed, which I believe is a site that sympathizes at the very least when they talk about gendered issues with feminism and the feminist narrative. They conducted a survey, and this was an online survey of over 300,000 people. So, of course, it should be taken with a grain of salt, but I think it's indicative, since this is a non-MRA friendly, non-MGTOW friendly site, that the vast majority of people answering really have some kind of feminist sympathy, and even still, with that said, it's pretty significant, the conclusions that this survey reached. And so I'm going to read to you a little bit about this article, because it ties into what the new feminism is going to be, and what the new feminism is going to rebrand itself as. Fourth wave feminism, if you want to call it that. So the article starts by saying, the BuzzFeed Feminism Survey, and there's a link to that survey in the description box, was taken by more than 300,000 people last week, and though admittedly the anonymous nature of the poll means the conclusions aren't unimpeachable, the data we collected offers some insight into the health and perception of the movement. And then it says, we'll be taking a look at the broader results of the survey in another post, but I wanted to respond to one of the bigger talking points. That is, despite the fact all but a handful of respondents believe in gender equality, a majority also believe that the name feminism should be replaced with something else. And then it goes on to show you some infographics that they composed. And these infographics, it's a green infographic, and it asks several questions. And I'm going to read those to you now. The first infographic says, do you agree? The question is, do you agree that all people are entitled to the same civil rights, liberties, and opportunities regardless of gender? Of course, the vast majority of people, 99%, said yes, with only 1% saying no. The next question says, do you identify as a feminist? To that question, only 69% answered yes, and 31% answered no. The next infographic said, if you don't identify as a feminist, why don't you? And out of that, 67% said, I believe in gender equality, but don't feel that feminism accurately represents my views. 31% said none of the above, so no reason given. And 2% said, I don't believe in gender equality. And then lastly, it says, do you agree with the terms feminism and feminist, or do you think that the gender equality movement needs a different name? And to that, 44% said feminist and feminism are the correct terms, but 56% said the gender equality movement should use a different name. Now, on the surface, this could appear as good news, but I think that something more nefarious is at play here, and it's something that we've discussed for a long time. Razorblade Candy just uploaded a video talking about this as well, which was an excellent video, which I plan on responding to. But the question is feminism attempting now that they're seeing that this cycle of the expression of gynocentrism, because remember, gynocentrism is the cause of all of these things. Traditionalism was merely an expression of gynocentrism. As a matter of fact, we could go deeper into this and say that traditionalism, in its beginnings, was the first attempt to control female behavior, or to have, at the very least, allow for a flourishing of male innovation and pro-male behavior. But traditionalism has now, and always has been, gynocentric, revolving around the female, and so on and so forth, right? And that was probably the trade-off that one needed to be able to flourish, so that the so-called, beta male or what have you could gain access to reproduction. We all know the story, etc., etc. Feminism being only one rendition of gynocentrism, the current rendition of gynocentrism, or the expression of gynocentrism, is starting to lose its umph, it's starting to lose its appeal, it's starting to be associated with man-hating and misandry. And of course, feminism has extracted its pound of flesh. It has accomplished all of the goals that it wants. Women are, at least on the surface, equal with men. We all know that if we dig deeper, we start to see they're privileged over men and advantaged over men. But feminism cannot any longer maintain this victimhood narrative without seeming increasingly idiotic looking. And we saw this with the whole Shirtgate situation, where feminists who time and time again, with all of their slut walks, tell men not to tell them how to dress, and then bitch about, some European Space Agency scientists who landed a spacecraft on a comet. So the question that we have to start asking ourselves, gentlemen, is how will feminism rebrand itself? I believe that there will be a separation of two different factions of women. One is going to be leaning towards the women against feminism contingent, and that's going to eventually lead into an embracing of traditionalist values, I believe. The other one is going to attempt to rebrand feminism or reinvent feminism, and this is a very important part in the article that I wanted to mention. The article said, quote, "Of those who answered that they don't identify as feminists, the majority said it wasn't that they didn't believe in gender equality, but because they don't believe feminism accurately represents their views." Later in the survey, when we asked if the terms feminism and feminist were the right names for the movement and its proponents, 56% of the respondents said the movement needed a different name. And then it says respondents of both sexes backed up this view in the comments. Feminism, they opined, was tainted, emblematic of radicals, and a rallying cry for male subjugation. And then, this is the important part, it says members of both sexes offered alternatives such as using, quote, humanism to rebrand feminism with. And therein lies the rub, gentlemen. This is how things like MGTOW, if we allow it, are going to be co-opted under the guise of egalitarianism, under the guise of, liberal navel gazing, or, on the other side, oppositely, traditionalists hijacking. We must absolutely refuse to allow our terms, our language, our identity, our philosophy, and our movement to be hijacked and infiltrated by those who would seek to either degrade it down to nothingness or redivert it back into the status quo of all of human history, which is the servility to the female, gynocentrism that has subjugated men and repressed men for millennia. That's all I have to say for now, gentlemen. Again, if you have any links that you would like covered, please send them to my email address. I'm going to remind you every episode or video that I do. Barbarossa938@gmail.com. That's Barbarossa with only 2 A's followed by 930. I don't know if I just said 938. Screw it. I'm going to say the whole thing all over again. This is the correct email. Barbarossa930@gmail.com. Barbarossa only having 2 A's. So that's all I got to say for now, gentlemen, and thanks for listening.